Yo, it is Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your support of the channel. We have a good one, a barn burner for you today. I'm going to give you the result. It's an Ace Mastery in an E100 for Destruct_1 from Clan 6 ACR. He's in his E100 Tier 10 German super heavy tank. We are on Live Oaks, spawned into the Northeast. So he sent this replay to me and said, how can I do this better? I love that question. It's an Ace tanker, right? 5,000 something damage. I think he gets 7 kills. And his question is, how can I do this better? So I like these because it's a good game, and we can break it down and look at if there was any way he could squeeze a little bit more damage out of it, maybe maintain a few more of his allies around, keep more of his hit points around for his vote later in the game. This one goes down to the wire. So what I want you to do today is kind of look at this, and we're going to go through it step by step and give me your ideas down below. What is it that you think? All right. So help us help him. Help us help him. So Destruct_1 right off the bat, top tier in a 3-tier battle. That is going to give a lot of advantages to an E100. There's a big city for an E100 to fight in. There's the tracks. I don't think anybody in their right mind would go to the middle anywhere in an E100. So if you were thinking that, turn the video up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't go to the middle in an E100. The other big thing going on here is there's no artillery. That's going to be a huge advantage for an E100, especially on this relatively open map, other than in the city. But even in the city, there's plenty of corners. So that is noted right off the bat. And he's facing an E100, a T57, 4005. None of that over there is really too scary. I mean, the TDs are going to hit hard. Even the T28. A T28 just seems made to go through the lower plate of an E100, doesn't it? Because it's low slung already, and it's got that gun that just almost points at the lower plate. Also, Destruct is running the smaller gun, recently upgraded for the E100. That will be interesting. We'll see how that goes. His team has a 50B, 110E3, and then the rest of the cats and dogs are. So, you know, I look at this and I go, okay, I don't really see a huge advantage. Now, where would you go? All right, let's get started. Think about where you would go, and let's see where Destruct_1 goes, because I think he makes an interesting choice, and I think it's a good choice, because there's no artillery. And the big bully E100 going down the tracks with enough support can really disrupt the mediums and other things that come over here. It can really disrupt that stuff. So we're going to talk about trying to increase the damage that he does and where those opportunities might be, speed up the damage that he does, where those opportunities might be, and how to maybe husband some hit points and where those opportunities might be. Because, as I said, this comes right down to the wire. It's extremely close. Could have been anyone's game. And unfortunately, Destruct was out of the game at that point, although he had done some pretty good work. So we're just going to go ahead and look at how many guys are coming. Right now, it's not amazing, but he's got some guys. And then right off the bat, I saw this. So I just want you guys to kind of watch. Look at the minimap. Watch what Destruct is doing. All right. Not once did he turn his turret and maybe try to get a shot. I didn't show it to you, but there were all kinds of highlights and times where he could have got that shot. Could have stopped and aimed in. Could have just done a snap-a-lama ding-dong on the guy and hope for the best. Anything but ignoring that there's hit points wandering around in the middle of the swamp down there. So there's your first opportunity. And, of course, he's been hit at least once by now. But back here, he was still full hit points and you had a shot. So very definitely, when you are attempting to maximize your damage, to maximize the time at which you take, or the speed at which you take the enemy's hit points down, you've got to take opportunities like this right off the bat. And to not even turn your turret and go, let me see. If there was artillery, there might be an argument for, yeah, I don't really want to do that, because if I stop and try to take a shot, I might get hit. There's also an argument for not crossing across the middle right here, for getting lit by guys like that, especially wheeled tanks that are very fast. Cross over the tracks over this way and use the berm here to stop yourself from being spotted. However, without Artie, not too bothered, and there was a huge opportunity right there for some hit points. He even takes a cheeky shot at you and bounces it, and then he loses the plot, and down he goes. All right, By now we can see that we've got a Tiger B. Looks like standard B. A Tiger B would be cool. We need one of those with an autoloader on it. Tiger 2, standard B. The 50B is with you. The Lorraine, the Char Future, and the Sturv S1. Now this is an interesting crowd because there's a bunch of autoloaders and then big old beefy U. So it's going to be tricky to use this crew down here, but the brutality of the burst damage is amazing. Now they're going to actually send their own crowd of autoloaders up here. And I thought for a moment that you were going to do what I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to do what I thought you were going to do right up to about there, and then you stopped. All right. To win down here, you've got to take that middle piece. All right. Generally. Not always. Depends on how well these guys defend, how many tanks are here, and how dopey these guys are. You didn't get it, so now we've got all these guys down in the middle. It's hard to use this bull, but there's a lot of tanks. This is not a bad position back here because you can kind of keep these guys busy. But let's see how this develops. We see the T-54. We're kind of get a shot there, and then we have, I don't know what this Pantera is doing. Is he tracked? He doesn't look to be tracked. I think he's shooting at people, and he accepts that you thumped him, and then he's looking at other people. And I thought for sure he was going to stay there and die, but he moves just at the right time. There you go. So your 50B's in there. Your who is that that's getting waxed right now? The Char Future is being a little dopey up top, and he's not long for the world. There he goes. So now we're just kind of hanging out here. I think at this point I would have moved into the bull based on what I saw. The thing about bringing an E100 down to this fight with these tanks that are with you is that you're the big bully. You're the big bad. You have to get in their face. I'm not saying YOLO win and let them whittle away all your hit points, but your armor is so good that, especially against this crew right here, that you can get in there and cause a disruption. So they're not going to be able to poke and start taking on your autoloader, especially after they clip out, because you're going to be there punishing them. If you're too far back, you're going to have a hard time doing that. And what that then, the cascade effect of being a little bit too far back and not supporting these guys as closely with your hit points and your armor, is that the speed at which you whittle away their hit points decreases. Now that was a great shot right there. Down he goes. And slowly but surely, your allies start dying. And what that means is then there's less guns on your team. And later on in the game, the mid to late game, you've got less allies to help you out. And this is just becomes kind of a long, slow slog over here. You're doing a pretty good job as far as using this spot. I'm assuming you used it before. You don't need a whole lot of depression. You've got some with this tank. And you're just using it pretty nicely. You got it a bit angled right there. But we've got the two T-50s, the Skodas, kind of peeking over. And slowly but surely, because they're able to come up and over, they're going to start beating up on your autoloaders. Right? These are all autoloaders. At least the standard B can kind of keep in the fight. We've got a 704 there. Count on a Jagdpanzer. Where is the... I thought there was a 40... No, I was wrong. I thought there was a 4502, but it was actually a AMX 50. So the AMX 50 is sitting down there. As a matter of fact, he appears to be AFK. Yep. So he's gone AFK, unfortunately, or disconnected. Disconnected, it looks like. And I don't know if you noticed that. I didn't notice that on the first run through. That's interesting there. Maybe you did notice that, and that's why you weren't interested in getting up and in there. So at this point, based on how many tanks you've lost, you probably don't want to be up in there, because if you're in there, they can all pile over, cover up against all these TDs back here, and then start shooting you from every direction. You don't last very long. So maybe not a bad idea right now to do what you're doing. Think about HE for the turret sniping game here. All right. That dude was a one-shot. That dude was not. That's who you shot. Should have been that guy. Get that gun out of the game. Get that gun out of the game. These are those small things, right? These are those small things that add up and hurt you over time. So we're going to come up here and look for a shot. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. You kind of come up here, you're looking at this guy. This dude is the guy you have the shot on at first, okay? Kind of watch what the little markers are doing and where the ground is. And as he was backing, look at this. Now you have to zoom in. You can tell that you don't have that good of a shot on it, but you actually have a shot on the side of the turret. And we're futzing around with these guys. and that lower guy. Now they're coming around here and they're trying to take on this poor 50B. So you got to take advantage of that. I think at this point, with these two big TDs, relatively big anyway, this a tier 9 and a tier 8, you got the Tiger 2 sitting back there. Come around this corner over here and start working on these guys who are attempting to take out this AFK or disconnected 50B. So they're in there shooting, and we're just kind of staring at the two Skirtas, and they're not really going to come over. So come down here, start working on these two. If those two come up, they get shot by the TDs. That's why they're not coming up and over. You for one, and they've probably been thumped by the TDs back there as well. So they're just kind of daring you to take a shot, and if you do, they're going to pop up. But there goes another TD shot. And meanwhile, look how much time you've had while Mr. Disconnect over here is getting thumped to come around the corner and put at least one shot or two shots into those mediums down there. Then the IS-2 shows up. And I don't think I would have let him have two shots like that. All right, so that was a missed opportunity to not lose hit points. He's got an angle. Somehow he figured it out, right? And you stayed there. You said, whatever, you're not going to get it again. And he did. So there's 300 hit points. The first one I'll give you because you were trying to get a shot in the Skoda. To be honest, you should have been down here shooting the guys in the pit. But now you've ate easily 300. And if you want to get real nitpicky, almost 600 points of damage given away to the IS-2 right there. And now we're just kind of hanging out here. Again, I think it's still worth it to come down low. You've got the cover of the TDs. That's what all these clowns back here are doing for you, is keeping these guys up high, honest. Get down here in this low ground and start working on these guys. And that's where, and look, see, the TDs even have a shot on them a little bit right there. And this is, look at this, dude, guys, this is awesome. This is a 3-10 game right here. If you are the enemy team, this is so over. You could drive backwards. You could drive backwards into the enemy, shooting at your own friends, and you would probably win this game. Let's see what happens. I've already given it away. So the T-103 is even moved up, right? It's such a win that the Camp-A-Llama Ding-Dongs that sit in the back are already moving up. So we get a shot there. And this, at this point, Destruct, I'm going to be honest with you, this is just a stubborn refusal to think a little bit more strategically within your local area. All right, just a local positioning is a thing. And this, I mean, it's been a good spot for you-ish. You only got 1,000 damage. I definitely would have tried something a little different here. And I think I'm going to keep beating this dead horse, but it's over here where you want to be right now. You've got to leverage these goobers and then find your own shot. So come around the corner and see what you can do. Even maybe have a shot at these guys potentially. That guy makes a mistake and pays for it, but they're trying to get forward on you right there. Then the IS-2 does you a solid right here in just a second. That is a really nice shot right there. That's one of the things this gun can do. It's not too amazing at it, but it's better than the big giant gun and the IS-2. So this is, again, this is that I can drive backwards and shoot myself. The IS-2 says, whatever, I'll just push in. I'll get this guy busy. The rest of them will come in. The guys will come in from the city, and it's over, right? It's over. Well, not exactly, because they didn't take advantage of that. And the guys in the city are just now figuring out how to push in. All right. Don't take that shot. At this point, you got to have better shots. All right. Either go to HE. By the way, I think you're carrying way too much HE. Although there's a bunch of shells in this gun, so it probably doesn't matter too much. Also, when the game starts to get in the balance like this, I think I dabbed two earlier than this. You may have pinned. You may have pinned that turret with a little bit of gold, right? You're playing turret games with relatively strong turreted mediums. You're losing. You need to start taking hit points off of them. I think number 2 is in your future much sooner than you bring it in. This was a nice job. You come up and over and just get right underneath. I don't know what he was waiting for. Guess he was trying to aim in, maybe trying to get his hydraulics to work so he could get that nice shot into your lower plate, and he eats it. And look at this, folks. All of a sudden, it's 7-11. And that push from the city really hasn't developed. The 110E3 has done some yeoman's work. All right, here's another shot selection issue right here. That guy just shot. He bounced. And you don't quite have the depression where you are. You're going to accept a shot into the turret. That's a really strong turret, and you end up bouncing. I think for my money, you come up just a little bit more. And look at this T-54. I don't think that he gets into your lower plate if you scooch up a little bit more and get a shot into this guy's hole and take him down. And even if he does, I don't think he's going to. I really don't. I think you learned that lesson. He missed. He's on a reload. He's going to out-reload you, though, because you have a long reload. This guy's backed up a little bit. Now he's trying to get away, and that's the shot you wanted before. So think about all the things we talked about where could have used HE on some turrets. You could have probably dabbed 2 a bit earlier, maybe killed some guys. A couple shot selection things, especially on the Skoda T50 earlier, where you could have killed one off. Add all those together as you're moving along, and you've probably cleaned up this flank by now, instead of still futzing around with it, right? We got the Skoda. I'm surprised this guy didn't come up and over, but I guess he's worried about the 704 and a Cannon. Really, this should be over so long ago. If that crowd in the city had come across faster, right down the A row, right across the A row, using as much of this little smaller berm here, this road here, as they could to cover from the TDs, they'd have come across. They'd have paid for it, but then they'd be in amongst these guys getting shots on them, and these guys would not be just down here supporting you. Now they're kind of busy dealing with the other guys, and it's you on your own, but you've whittled these guys down. We've got just the one poor T-54 wondering, how did we pork this away? He doesn't have to wonder anymore. He's back in garage, and he can contemplate the errors of that game back in the garage. So that's the big deal here. We're going to get into some pretty good shot selection things going on here as far as choices. But really, when you come at a ace tanker with a tier 10 that has 5,700 something damage, and you ask the question, how could I have done better? It's really a lot of small things. Now, I think right here, you use this armor. You just tuck up against this Skoda, and you start taking these 2 TDs on. Now, you kind of charge in here low. We're going to take a nice aim shot here. We get a couple bounces. That worked. And then we just keep pushing in. If you'd have pushed in and kind of pushed your front end against this Skoda, you could have used that for your lower plate coverage. This T-28 is not going to get away from you. This guy's a dope, and he sticks around a little too long. And even if you were a little higher, I'll let you see what was going on here. He kind of tries to get in here, maybe thinking he's going to get another shot, or that, hey, we're 2 TDs. I think he also thinks he can out-reload you, which he did, and he actually gets some damage, but he's not quite fast enough. Think about if you'd have tucked in right here, you'd have been higher in altitude, and that would have been an even easier shot. I just like that as a more defensive position right here to take on him and take out the T-28. We come in here, not enough angle. I think if you'd given him a little more angle, you might have had a better chance. This is that thing I was talking about. A T-28 seems made to take on a E-100 with that gun nice and low, just shooting right into that lower plate right there. And now he's got you down pretty low, and that's a bit of a bummer. We fixed the engine. I think overall a really nice job with fixing things. I haven't noted it yet, but it's happened several times. You've kind of immediately fixed stuff as it got broken. So nice essay on that. We're coming in here, and we just allow another really straight-on shot. That's an easy pen for him. I think he even gets one more because that thing just reloads so fast. Yep. Thank goodness he did not pen with that last shot, and down he goes right there. And then it looks bad, right? We got an E-100, a FV, a T-95. That object over there is doing his bestest. Get some shots, and looks like you're trying to come up and over. This is an interesting one because it definitely looks like a time thing where you really need to get your gun back up into the game. But I think, in hindsight, it's going to be 20/20 on this one. I would have come up behind these bushes and maybe used the Scorpion G as some armor right there against some of these guys. But very easily could have been in your mind that I need to just get up and over. And unfortunately, that gets you lit. At least I believe it did. Maybe he didn't actually see you right there. And then you decide to come over and use these bushes over here, which I think is a good idea. E-100 has a lot of hit points, unfortunately. He's coming in with 1,200. You're trying to get up and get your depression on him. He sees you. He's trying to get his gun. You hit him for a nice 450, and then he HEs you to death with 198, and that's just the way it goes. He's using the big gun right there. So I don't know. Maybe poke up and see what he's doing, and then if he reacts to you, crawl back down, see if you can't get a little tricky with him. But you did drop another 450 hit points off him. I think I said 5,700 damage. It looks like 5,100. And then, holy cow, the 704 ends him. Was that a high roll? I guess it was a high roll or potentially an ammo rack. I don't know how many hit points he just took off. That was a lot, though. Really nicely done. We're going to watch the rest of this because here comes the T95. He's going to try to kill off this easily killable 704, right? He'll just come in and like, I'm a T95, so I'll just thump you. And the object 704 says, that's cool. Mr. T95, I'm going to thump you. There we go. Don't know if that was HE or what. And then the FV is back there at 366. The 704 at 185. All the FV has to do is hit this guy with HE, man. And he's in this little low divot here. The 4th primogenitor. He's got 3 kills. No camo on his 704. Checking his damage. Rocking back and forth, thinking, I hope this 4005 does not hit me. 4005 is thinking, man, if I can just pixel snipe the top of that thing. I don't think he's actually spotted quite. There we go. He takes the shot. He was spotted. 704 says, thank you very much. I'll just crawl up here to where I have enough depression, and booyah. I told you it was down to the wire, folks. So the question was, how can I do better in an already very good game? And the answer is always it's little things, and it's the same in a bad game. It's little things that you could have done better to get a little more damage. Not necessarily to win at all games. That's not what I'm saying, but to improve as many games as you can along the way. Starting with the Lynx, a couple more hit points on the Lynx. Get rid of him a little earlier. Maybe if he dies a little faster because you hit him, the TDs don't take so much damage because he was lighting them. And maybe you save them a little bit more vote later on. You see how that starts to snowball? Now you get down here, you're maybe a little bit more aggressive with your armor down there, helping your guys, keeping them alive a little bit. But I think it was not a bad choice once your guys lost the bull or were in danger of losing the bull. Then there was a bit of a just kind of sameness over and over and over, attempting to get use the same spot. You could have shifted down lower and maybe done some hit points a little faster down there. Some of the shot selections I noted, some of the using HE on turrets, some of the patience on shots, some of the places of where you took shots, all those added together. Maybe you preserve a few more hit points, and end game you have some more tanks left. They have some more hit points left, and this goes a little bit better. But it was really a great game. Nicely done, man. 3,639 assists as well, and 6,000 bounced. That is like carrying an extra 2 E100s around with you as extra skins that you can replace once your first one's dead. So nicely done. I want everybody else down below, other things you saw in there, things you could do better, faster, quicker. Let us know down in the comments. That's all I've got for today. See ya.